This is the Franchise QB Podcast, where we empower entrepreneurs to win big in franchising. We huddle up weekly to educate our audience about the most successful small business model ever created, franchising.
Welcome to the Franchise QB Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Halpern, a 20-year industry veteran and entrepreneur. My mission is for listeners to achieve their American dreams of creating wealth and independence through franchise ownership. Every week, we speak with franchisees, franchisors, or vendors that support the industry. Thank you for joining us, and let's get started. Joining us on the huddle today is Kim Woods, Development Director at Belfor Franchise Group. Welcome to the show, Kim.
Hi, thanks, Mike. Nice to be with you.
Yeah, it's good to see you again. So you and I started our careers around the same time. You worked for Franchise Solutions for many years, which connects aspiring entrepreneurs with franchise brands as well as franchise consultants. And then you became a development manager working with portfolio franchisors, including Belfor Franchise Group, where you're currently developing the Clear Pest Pros brand. You're also a vice president and board member at the New England Franchise Association, which is an affiliate of the IFA, which brings franchisors, franchisees, and suppliers together to share ideas for success. Also, you're a U.S. Navy veteran, so thank you so much for your service to our country. And let's jump right in. Kim, how did you find the franchise space?
So interestingly, in 1999, I knew nothing about franchising, and I answered an ad in the newspaper that said I could make a lot of money. And I was living about an hour from the seacoast of New Hampshire, and I wanted to move back. So I was like, you know what? I went on the interview, and I was like, if I don't like it, I'll find another job.
Sure.
And within 2 weeks of joining the company, I'm not going to lie, I knew nothing. Like, they had Maggie Moo's on their website and stuff like that. In New Hampshire, we didn't have a lot of franchises at the time. So I didn't even understand what the brands really were or what it meant. But I fell in love with franchising. And here I am.
Yeah, we have a very similar story. I remember when they had newspapers and I responded to an ad in the paper. So it's a little bit different nowadays. But so currently you're developing the Clear Pest Pros brand, which is owned by Belfor Franchise Group. Before we get into Clear Pest Pros, tell us a little bit about the company's history of Belfor.
All right. So Belfor, Sheldon Yellen is the CEO of Belfor and all of our other brands under there, which I'll tell you about. So Sheldon was with a company that was Belfor Property Restoration, and he subsequently ended up purchasing it in 2006. At the time, it had about 3,300 employees. Today, it has 14,000 employees.
Wow.
It's the largest devastation restoration company in the world. It is a global company. And along the way, he realized he couldn't do all the work under Belfor. So he started buying franchise brands. The first brand that we bought was Ducks. And then we started Belfor Franchise Group at that time. We now have 15 different brands under that umbrella, Clear Pest Pros being one.
That's awesome. And I had ducks at my house last week to do a duct cleaning on our HVAC system as well as a dryer vent cleaning. So that was a really cool experience. So let's focus on your brand. We're here to discuss Clear Pest Pros. How does being owned by Belfor Franchise Group allow Clear Pest Pros to be an emerging brand, but not feel like an emerging?
So I'm not new to emerging brands, but this brand, when I came on, they had no franchisees. They just started franchising when I came on board. So, and the feel is so different than any other emerging brand. All the tools and bells and whistles, and even our corporate location, when candidates see it, they realize, we're not new to the game. We're just new to the name. Because we did originally start as a pest control company, or I should say we purchased one called Safer Home Services out of Clearwater, Florida in 2023. And they were starting to franchise that brand. And, sometimes you need to replace the founder for different reasons. So we did decide we're going to replace the founder, and we brought a new one on. That pest control company did once a year pest control. Now think about Florida. Have you ever been to Florida with cockroaches the size of kids?
I'm usually there in the summer.
I have no idea how they do once a year pest control. If you drop a crumb in Florida, you will have cockroaches. So the once a year model. So when we brought in the new guy to be president, he's like, I don't like once a year pest control. I know that, if we did quarterly or monthly, that franchisees could make more, recognize revenue faster and scale faster. And so we had to make a decision. Were we going to spend a year switching everyone over in Florida to the new name and the new model, or start over again with the new name And that's what we did. So we started Clear Pest Pros at 2025, the end of April, beginning of May. Started
Hmm.
franchising in Ann Arbor, Michigan. That location's going great. Already on its second truck. Same time, James Myers, the brand president and founder of Clear Pest Pros, did switch over Florida. So he spent the whole last year managing that location, switching the services over and rebranding. So that is Clear Pest Pros as of the end of 2025 as well.
Okay, very cool. Thank
Yeah.
you for the origin story there. So I know Belfor has a broad portfolio of brands, and obviously there's a lot of other franchises out there in home services. So why Clear Pest Pros? What kind of stands out about the brand in terms of revenue, scalability, that type of thing?
So it is it's the leadership. I think it all comes down to leadership and the people behind the brand. James Myers is an amazing brand president, founder, just an amazing person. I dub him the bug guy because I don't think anyone ever woke up and said, "Hey, I want to be in pest control." At least I don't think so. Every now and then somebody will tell me they did, but it's not the normal trajectory of somebody's life that they wake up and think that's what they want to own.
Why Clear Pest Pros? When a candidate is evaluating the model, what kind of stands out?
It is a recession-proof business or recession-resistant business. It is
Hmm.
very scalable. You get started with one truck and one technician, and you can fit at least 5 in a market. So it's a very scalable model, and it's a need. I don't know anyone who's happy with having, insects and mice running around their house. I tell you right now, if a mouse moves in, I am moving out. I don't think people think of it initially, but once we talk about the logistics of the business and how there is a necessity, commercial and residential, they really understand it and fall in love with pest control. People often say to me, I never thought I'd be excited about pest control. And now I am.
Yeah, and I like any exterior services brand in that it's not as intimate as something where you have to go in the house. Now I know in your case you can do both, like you can do exterior treatments and you could do interior treatments. But like our pest control company, I kind of don't have a need for them inside the house too often, but they're usually doing like perimeter work. And it doesn't matter to me when they come. As long as they come on a cadence that I pay for, I'm happy. Whereas if they have to come in the house, then it becomes a little bit more intimate and there is more trust and all that kind of stuff. So I think
Yeah.
overall, like I can see the scalability of that model. Tell us a little bit about the systems, the support, things like that.
Yeah. So James Myers, the brand president, is an amazing founder, amazing leader. He loves bugs. I dub him the bug guy. He doesn't love nicknames, but he told me he'll put up with it because I told him I had to make pest control seem fun. It was, again, no one wakes up and thinks they want to be in pest control, but he is just thoughtful. He's never afraid to say, if you have ideas, let's hear them because you never know who's going to have the next best idea. We are a
Yeah.
franchisor though, so we have models and systems and tools that are already in place, but anywhere where you can fill it in. One thing that really makes it unique is James wants to make sure that every market, we are focusing on pests in your area. Like if you are in Arizona compared to where you are and where I am on the East Coast, if you're in Arizona, you're going to have scorpions and snakes that you have to worry about. I've never seen a scorpion. I don't
Yeah.
think I'm ever going to see one ever. So we're doing pest control by region and by area and making sure we're targeting what the customer's needs are.
Okay. So, who are you looking for in a franchise partner? Is there a certain type of candidate that really makes sense for the brand?
I would say that somebody that is driven and motivated. I think most people would say that when it comes to franchising, but somebody who's driven and motivated. They don't have to do the pest control themselves. They most certainly can hire a technician to do it. But it seems like right now we're bringing in a lot of people that have been former franchisees or maybe franchisees of another system, not of Belfor yet, and just people that are like chemical engineers and vice presidents of groups and mergers and acquisitions. Seems like we're bringing in a high end clientele, but if you're driven and motivated, and looking to grow a market and grow a business, I always tell people if you're looking for one van in one territory, this probably isn't for you because there's so much more potential in a market that we want to help franchisees really recognize all the potential in the market that they can.
Okay. And you
Or
touched on the location down in Florida that was the original, and you launched one in Ann Arbor near Belfor Franchise Group HQ. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of the state of the company? I know you're emerging, but what's it look like today?
So we have 4 franchisees and 10 territories sold and getting ready to have a little bubble right here that's going to burst with several more. I have several more in the final stages right now of getting their documents together and getting ready to sign. So it's an exciting time. We still have plenty of white space though.
And is it like geographically spread out? I mean, do you find that the new owners are, in different parts of the country, or are they kind of in the same geography?
So coincidentally, we do have one from Michigan, which was completely by mistake. A broker sent it over, and I don't think he even knew that's where the corporate location was for Clear Pest. But either
Okay.
way, we have Michigan, we have Florida, and two in Texas right now. Other ones
Okay.
that are
Very cool.
on are all over the place.
Yeah, so let's talk about the future. Like as you guys grow, you mentioned a lot of white space. What does the future look like for CPP?
So we are growing thoughtfully. We're not just looking for somebody with a heartbeat, like everybody says that. I always say with franchising, if it was so easy as just giving over your money and you'd be successful, everybody would find the money and do it. We're looking to bring on the right owners, and just really grow and scale the business, but thoughtfully. We
Yeah,
could have had a
gotcha.
lot more franchisees signed already, but we're trying to do it, the right way.
Yeah. I took a trip out to Ann Arbor and visited HQ back in 2022, so 4 years ago. And it was really impressive, like going into the flood house and going to see like the training facilities for all the brands. Tell us a little bit about the experience that a candidate has when they come out, because I know, obviously they're evaluating Clear Pest Pros, but they kind of get the bigger picture when they see the investment that Belfor Franchise Group has made.
Yeah, that's a perfect point. So that actually lends to what I was saying about not feeling like an emergent brand. So we have a 35,000 square foot facility, which I don't know if you've been there yet because you just moved in there not that long ago.
Yeah, I don't know if I had. It was a pretty big space, and, like, I just kinda navigated around, and maybe it was, I'm not
Did you
sure.
see did you see vans and trucks and stuff in the showroom?
I
Parked in the
did.
showroom? Okay, our main office is 35,000 square feet with a van and truck from 13 different brands parked in the showroom. And then next door, right down the road, we have a 16,000 square foot training facility for all of our brands to train, including a commercial kitchen, which is great for pest control because we can show you how to do the pest control in the kitchen. Then we do have that flood house, which we actually use for several different brands, including Clear Pest Pros, where we can show you how to do pest control inside and outside the home. And then we can obviously bring them out in the field. But the feel, so everyone that's come to meet the team day, knock on wood, wants to move forward with Clear
That's
Pest
great.
Pros because in every comment that we've received is that they felt like what they were walking into is way different than every experience they've had before.
Yeah, I mean, you can feel supported, you can see the resources that are there, and I think that's really
Yeah.
meaningful, like, beyond the widget that you're investing in. So,
Yeah.
let's talk about the investment. So, item 7, what do the startup costs look like in terms of the range for a new owner to join the team?
So right now it's 121,000 to 313,000.
Okay.
But really for one territory, one of the states made us put in the high end of 115. So it's really, the franchise fee is 35 right now. So the high
Okay.
end on the franchise fee goes up to 115, but let's just say we were going with 35 for one territory. It would put it at 233,000, but that includes a full cost of a van. Also includes 60,000 of working capital, which is really on the high end. Would be happy if they
Mhm.
had 30. And it includes 6 months of marketing, both on the
Yeah.
low and the high end. So there's a lot built into it. Uh, so there's a little bit of different ways that they could save some money along the way.
Yeah, really affordable brand, especially when
Yeah.
you introduce things like SBA funding and you're putting in 20% of that number, it becomes really approachable for a lot of candidates that are evaluating ownership.
Yeah.
How about item 19? Do you give founding location guidance in terms of earnings?
So we use a projected number
Okay.
for a van. So we put it in there that a van could do around 219,000, and it includes general pest control at 111 per quarter, and then termites at 821 per job. I live in New Hampshire. I pay 136 a quarter for pest control. So every market could be very different. We also do more stuff. So we also do mosquito and tick, bed bug, wildlife control, which are not all built into the item 19 either. So it is a projected number of 219, but I always tell people you're going to buy more than one van. That's the
Yeah.
thing. When you're busy 4 days a week, it's time to add another van so you don't have to turn people away.
So for the consumer, for the end user, they get to kind of a la carte some of these pieces, which will make that recurring revenue a little more, a little less, depending on where they land.
Yeah. So, yeah, and every market will be a little different. Like I said, if you're in Arizona, we're going to build in things that we won't for other markets. But every person I've ever spoke to wants to pay the same person for mosquito control and for general pest control. And right now they're not. I
Yeah.
say with all of the data breaches going on everywhere, people would really want that to happen now. So then the
Mhm.
credit card's only in one place instead of two.
Got it. And then generally speaking, when the treatments are being applied, is it one employee per van?
Yes. Yeah.
Got it. Cool. This is awesome, Kim. Really appreciate it. Anything else you want to add to the mix before we wrap up today?
No, so the way that we're taking the approach at Belfor too, if somebody came in and they're looking at Clear Pest Pros and it's not for them, then we have 14 other brands we can talk to them about. We're trying to, make sure that we're making sure we're representing the right brand for the right candidate, and not just about pushing Clear Pest Pros. It's about getting them in the fit that's right for them.
Yeah. And that's a nice luxury to have when you have Belfor that has such a variety of brands, like both B2B and B2C. So that's really cool. Well, if anyone listening would like to connect with Kim and her team to learn more about becoming a franchise owner with Clear Pest Pros, contact me at franchiseqb.com and I'll get you connected. Thank you, Kim, so much for taking the time to get in the huddle with us today.
Bye. Thank you.
You got it. Thank you for listening to the Franchise QB podcast, where you're at the helm of your future as a franchise owner. If you enjoyed the content, please rate the show and recommend it to anyone that might be interested in franchising. Make sure to visit franchiseqb.com to subscribe to my newsletter and for an actionable playbook to go from walk-on to legend in your new business. Follow us on Twitter at QBFranchiseQB and join us every week for a new episode. See you next time.
Visit franchiseqb.com to take the next step of your journey towards wealth, independence, and franchise ownership. And remember, when working for the man gets old, you must do something bold. Thank you for listening.